the human behavior, and therefore forced the way we are able to work in the revised syndrome, in the revised scenario. And slide number 6. No, it's not happening. Anyway, so we can, this is another change that we probably should be getting used to in a digital platform. But anyway, so, but digital transformation is actually the buzz, is actually the point to be reckoned with. And that's the point I would like you all to all of us to understand, that what is that human behavior and what is the way we change, what is the way we do our work that is going to get hugely transformed with the digital transformation. And this digital transformation is what my submission would be in the next few slides. But before that, we can have a poll and we should get our act right on the slides, please. Thank you. Yeah, over to you, Atul.
Yeah, so the first poll coming up is the question that when we starting the journey for digital transformation, what do we think is crucial? The time, the effort makes between process, people, or technology. If you guys can just vote in, and then we will see what are the results and we'll debrief the results. I can see good active participation coming up. Quickly, if we can wrap up in next few seconds. Yeah, we have the results on screen, Shantanu.
Oh, good. So it's a majority feel that it's 40% people, 30% technology, 30% processes. I do not differ from this data, but these are just numbers. It's 40 becoming 45 or 30 becoming 35 is not important. But I think there is a lot of merit in even people who are thinking about technology. The fact that all of us think that technology will have a place in the new normal is what is a point that we have good concluded. So it's the digital transformation that we thought, it was years away, we thought, and we corporates did try to get some pieces in place, but these last 2-3 weeks or whatever, it actually brought so many years ahead that we thought that we'll have time to bring it back to these 2-3 weeks and getting our act right. And if you go to the next slide, this you must have seen who led the digital transformation is COVID. It's not our the leadership. It's actually the COVID, but that's okay. That's okay. Someone brought it, but that's going to stay. That's going to stay. I can assure you on this. It is, and are we ready or not? Do we have a choice? These are questions that we can ask. But if you just click it once more, Meg, Atul. No, you go to the next slide and click it once more. Yes, so just keep it here, please. So are we ready or not? And the choice of being ready or not is actually not there for 2 reasons. One is that companies have seen in this digital environment the advantages of running a business. Obviously, I'm not naive to say that that manufacturing setup will run on digital. No, not at all. I'm not saying that the warehouses will run on digital. No, but the overall premise of a workplace, the companies have seen huge and distinct advantages of going through a digital workplace. And there, the business rationale is so huge in terms of the advantages, and also in terms of the flexibility that it offers to the people. We actually do not have a choice. We actually do not have a choice, and that is what it is important for all of us to understand this, that it is here to stay. The way we work tomorrow and way we are working now is going to stay the same. It's not going to go back to the old ways, because the old ways is probably a little dusted in terms of its efficacy. And now if I come back to my topic of once I have set in the context, when you have to win in the marketplace, and this is not my quote, I have just borrowed it from someone. It is, you have to win in the workplace. And if you have to win in the workplace, what is it that the revised workplace would look like is actually the so-called new normal. That is what we are going to present, So that is where I go to my real topic, which is new normal, but I just wanted to set the context, and I wanted to make a real submission that the paradigms have changed. And it is important for all of us, be it in HR or any fraternity or any profession, to accept this paradigm, because this is positive, because this is what is going to happen. This is what will remain. And I'm going to share a few examples, sometime during the later part of the presentation. And if you can go to the next slide, please. And as I said, it won't be the same after lockdown, and that's okay. That's perfectly okay. It is okay because if it is okay, it's because for a simple reason that it is helping the business. It is helping you, everyone who is there in corporate, and that's why it's okay. Not because it's a fad, not because, work from home or it's a fad. It is actually working. Is that the way it is designed and the way we have engulfed this piece is working, and that's why it's okay. And that's the point that I want to drive. And after this, I'll take a little pause and take a few questions if it has come. So over to you.
Yeah, some interesting questions have come, Shantanu, our way. So the first question talk about that, as you said in the slide, that are we caught napping or we are prepared? So people are keen to understand that what are the post-COVID lessons, like what sort of changes NHR guys are doing for in their BCP for these kind of situations, or what they can attempt to do in these kinds of situations.
Yeah, so I will be addressing it in the subsequent slides. So if I'm not able to respond to this question the way I was satisfied, then please have another question answer session on this. But specifically on this question, there are a few pointers that I'm going to point out in the next few slides.
Sure. So another question is towards the digital shift which is happening. And HR guys are saying that there is a kind of resistance. How do we have that mental shift going on in the employees for the digital shift, the transformation which is happening? The second part of the question is, how do you prevent the data security aspects also, because there are some entrepreneurs or companies which are too much thinking about security and the data security aspect. So how do an HR balance these two, the resistance in the mind to go digital and the data security part?
Yeah, I like that question. I like that question. And it is just not HR. When I say HR, surprisingly, it is not a solution that HR has to give. It is the leadership of an organization has to give. Firstly, when do I get resistance? I get resistance when I do not have the technology at my home to work. So the company has to provide that technology. It is not just HR. If I do not get my, I can't be gardening without any, no seeds, no fertilizers, no plow, nothing. I go to garden, it doesn't work. And previously, I remember in some organizations, I recall when I used to talk to people about giving laptops to all employees, they used to get so angry at me. Hey, what are you saying? You don't know the cost. So, it's provide the technology first. First, provide the technology. If you do not, and I'm being a little fundamental in my answers, if you do not provide the technology, do not expect the employees to show these pieces. The second is that we have to appreciate that in a desired state, it is not work from home, it is work by design. And that is what I'm going to introduce today as a concept. It is not necessarily work from home, it is work by design, and I'm going to cover that piece. But the point I want to say that as an employee, do not expect my passion and my passion to deliver for an organization. Do not have the right tools and equipments with me. the first mandatory piece for any HR or the organization is to provide me the tools and equipments to deliver. It's one of those Gallup questions. Do I have the right tools and equipments? Or if you do not have that, that's one. The second is, it is just not, work from home. It is also laying down certain processes around work from home, which I'm again going to cover, which makes the resistance less. But one thing I want to tell you, my friend, whoever is asking from HR, please take this as a challenge and an opportunity to go back to your employees and say that the change has come in. I like it or I don't like it, I resist it or I don't resist it, but this new normals will set the pace. And it's that, as I said earlier, the choice is not there. As long as an organization, I care for an employee, I engage with an employee in a digital workspace, in a digital transformed environment, employees will not resist. Trust me, I have done this and I am seeing this and I'm seeing great joy in the way people are working. And what was the next question, Atul?
No, I think you covered it well. I think the answers cover in terms of, if I could just bucketize in platform, as you rightly said, first concentrate on the platform for digital side and then people, and then try to get the mindset right, because this is not something we can get away. A very interesting question, Shantanu, has come on the cost side. So when cost people are asking, they are asking from three aspects. One is when we say that business is happening normal, as you have also tried to put that, yes, business will stay even tomorrow with the virus as well. So are there any chances companies start looking at that business is happening even without people, without many people coming to office? Are they going to shift to co-working spaces? Or there might be some pink slip coming in the way? If pink slips are coming, what is something that can be think of? So various questions have been asked around this. So I'm just articulating it in a manner so that it can be answered.
I cannot give you hypothetical responses as to what if happens, but what I can share with you is certainly my own view that the workspace, so-called the physical workspace, you're talking of two points. One is, do I need this much of manpower? That was first point.
Yes.
I mean, that I'll come a little later. First is the workspace. The workspaces will remain revisited and redefined. I can assure you on this. You will not need the same workspace to deliver. And many organizations have done it. Many of the IT companies, they do not have full capacity to accommodate all. It's assumed that some people are working from home. But yes, work from home will no more be a rule, once a week, twice a week. It's not. It's going to change because the advantages are huge. I'll show you some survey data. People want it that way. But whether it becomes co-working, and etc. have anyway started in India long time back, in many cities. So it's not that, but it's going to further get redefined. It's going to get further redefined. Primarily, what I want to submit to you is, it's not a question of whether company wants to invest in workplace and workspace and have 4 more offices or less. Is the ability of an individual to work without going to an office is what has got concluded and defined. My contract with you is a job, is the role that I do. My contract with you is not when I clock my time, when I come to office and when I don't come to, when I leave the office.
Very good point.
With you is when I do the role. And that has got redefined and that has got signed off. It's a question of time, whether, as far as the headcount is concerned, it is a myth if whoever is thinking so. If it is a company downsizing or company, resizing, is nothing to do with COVID. It has happened before, it will happen tomorrow, it will happen, all of this will happen.
Very good point.
The fundamental premise that we don't require so much of headcount, if the realization has dawned on this, then of course the companies take a chance. But I don't think progressive companies would take this as an opportunity to get all this, to get that act right. It is irrespective of this COVID. You can do restructuring, reorganizing, irrespective of COVID. Companies have done that before. Companies will do it tomorrow also. I'm sorry, I get very blunt in my answers, but that's the way
it's a very well articulated answer, and I would really comment on the contract part where you said that it's contract for the job and not for contract for the office or the timing part of it.
Yeah.
That's very good. One last question I will take and then we'll move forward. somebody has specifically asked about manufacturing sector, and you coming from background of Pepsi and other, how do you see the manufacturing sector coping up with this? Because still in office, work from home can work, but what are the things that an HR guy from a manufacturing sector can take up or think about for the
Manufacturing, if you have to run the lines, you have to have the people there. That's it. So the manufacturing sectors won't go paradigm change. It is going to stay the way it is. It is actually the majority of the change will be people who do not are related to, who is agnostic, whose survival or whose stay in your organization is agnostic to staying at a physical workplace is where it go change. And also the way we reach out to the business, to the shop, to the consumers and customers. A lot of it will be through home delivery. You may not come to a shop, right? You can go through a home delivery. That is what these are the paradigms, and these are the paradigms that have been redefined. So it is certainly manufacturing will not undergo a change where there is a shop floor, where there is a people who need to run the machines. Obviously, you can't get into those paradigm shifts. But I mean, it's not possible. But there are other parts of business, especially when you reach out to your customers, when you reach out to your consumers, when you have to physically work at a workplace which was so defined as a workplace, those will, in my view, will undergo a change.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely correct. So I think I'll take a pause here. We'll move forward. There are a lot of questions. Friends, I'll take your questions towards the end so that we at least complete the flow. Over to you, Shantanu.
Sure, thank you. So if you can move to the next slide. So what is the new normal? Let's define this, and I will be restricting it to the workplace. I will be restricting it to people. I will be restricting it to engagement, and I will not be restricting to other functions of other verticals of sales or marketing, etc. So I'm going to just restrict it to the people front and the people domain, which is the purview of today's discussion. Yeah. So let's go into little, yeah. So the first new normal, I think we have talked about it. The routine office goes to work from home, but work from home is also will undergo work by design. When I say work by design, the employee will have the liberty to choose as to how much one is going to stay in the office, how much one is going to stay at home, or how much one is going to stay in the wherever and deliver. There will be a few caveats, of course. There will be some common hours. There will be, and in Amway, much before the national lockdown, we had declared work by design, where people had the option to come to office on March 3rd, if I recall. We had people had come to office, people could work from home, people could work from anywhere, people could choose between the two, and that is going to, that in my view, will be the first new normal that we as leaders have to be accustomed. And I'll be very candid with you. If I am a manager, I would be expecting my team to work. They have to stay as much as I stay. Just because I clock 9 to 5, that doesn't, these things will not work anymore, in my view. Because as I said, my contract with the company is the role that I do. Yes, I'm not denying or not saying that, the world will get transformed and tomorrow everyone will work from home. Not at all. There will be times when we will be required to come to office, but the mandated 9 to 5, the mandated structure that we are expected to clock a time, come to office, go back, that will shift, in my view, in a paradigm. The paradigm will really shift. And it is, as I said, it is not work from home only. It is not once a week that I'm allowed to work from home, or, it's work by design. I will choose as an employee, what is the design that I want for me to work. I can stay 4 hours in office. I can stay 2 hours. I can meet as a team. Me and my team can meet in a cafeteria for 2 hours. So the work by design is in my belief, and I had tried this and it worked actually. Before the lockdown, we had tried this and it worked for 13, 14 days. After that, of course, we shut our offices once the clampdown started, but work by design worked. And in my view, I will, once we restore so-called normalcy, I would go back to work by design. Yeah. So that's one piece that I would like to park. So the second point is that, if you go to the next slide, it's if you just keep on this slide, see, the point is that even if you see the data, even if you see the numbers, numerous studies have suggested that it is not just Gen Z or it is not U35 or U25. It is across 64%, which is about 2/3 of the professionals say they could work anywhere. And remote work policies in place at 71% of organizations. The balance, right, also have to get into this. And that's the paradigm, that's the new normal. Because it is impacting positively the way we can do our work. And enough number of research studies, even before COVID. The only thing COVID has done is, they have actually given a sign and a stamp to these studies. These studies were there much before COVID actually. But we thought that, hey, how much is it? But now with COVID, when we have realized that this is the way it does, then there is a realization that, hey, this is giving an advantage, and this is what people were saying all along. So this is going to remain. That's the point, and this is what studies suggest. And if you go to the next slide, please. Atul, can you go to the next slide, please? Meg, Atul, anyone who can handle this?
Yeah, just changing. It's got stuck. Give me a second.
Yeah, I'm trying to change. It's stuck 1 minute.
So can I show the slides, or is it possible for me to show the slides?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please bear with this because they are doing a lot of work. They're sitting in Hyderabad. I am sitting in Gurgaon. You guys are sitting anywhere. So please bear with it and don't worry. Over time, we will get the technology right across organizations. Not to worry. If you see this data, and this slide looks a little busy with numbers, but predominantly what you should realize is that majority of the professionals value remote working and flexibility in working hours. That's the reality. That's the fundamental premise. And that is what I would like to honestly and humbly submit. There are all those leaders who are in this call and all those who are in HR or any function, or and many of these are anyway applicable for even schools nowadays. I can see are running remotely, so this flexible work option is not an option. It's a choice. It's actually will come by design. And as I said, I will cover in the next one slide or two more slides, that it has a huge business advantage, and companies with a rational thinking will not come out of this advantage, right? So yes, so this data is essentially to tell that across the world, including India, professionals have preferred having flexible work options. And that flexible work option is not necessarily work from home. The clampdowns have done this biggest ever experiment of lockdown. The work from home is the biggest experiment I would know. But it's just not work from home. It's a flexibility in my designing my work hours, and my flexibility in not only my designing my workplace but also my hours. Because I keep repeating this, my contract with you is on the role that I do. It is not on the 9 to 5. That's not my contract. And will it happen tomorrow? It may not. But trust me, I can assure you on this, it will happen. Some companies may feel that resistance because honestly, I often feel that resistance while I talk about employees is actually because I also am okay as an employer to have the resistance because I may not have given the technology, or I may not want it that way. But this is going to stay. I can assure you on this. This is going to stay. Flexible work option will remain the new norm, the new mantra. I can assure you on this. Yeah, if we can go to the next slide. And if you see this slide, it's take any piece in HR. Take any piece in HR. This flexible work option is what actually will help the business by these benefits. You talk of financial benefits, right? If you just optimize your workspace on the sheer work by design concept, can you imagine the financial benefit it gives to a company? Reams and reams of paper of updates to your uplines, to your bosses, is all gone. It will be through digital spaces. It will be through shared drives. Not that we were not doing. It's just that it has got further concluded and validated and sealed off and signed off in this period. It's not that we were not doing. I agree we were doing. You enhance more productivity. I feel that yes, there are certain learnings out of this, and I must say that I empathize with the women workforce. They are ending up doing a lot of work for home, and they're doing, not to say that men don't do, but in general, what I realize. But at the same time, what the point of productivity, if you are designing this flexibility, and if you see those previous data, I mean, you can go through it later if someone can share those slides with you. But if you see, the productivity is actually your working hours, your passion to deliver has gone up more. Your loyalty, your employee loyalty is going up. There is a positivity of brand image of a company that giving you an option to work the way you want. It obviously brings in a retention, because many people leave these jobs because there is no flexibility. Now people will stay back with you. It's going to reduce absenteeism. And when I put all of this, there's a lot of numbers backed with it, but I was told that, it's a strict 1 hour session. So I can't dwell a little, extensively on these points. But the fact is that it is just not a fad. It's just not an HR fad that, we're going to do this and make we call progressive. It's because the business, the COI or the margins or the returns of a company will significantly get impacted positively by this flexible work design, by the digitalization of the workplace, by this entire concept of the digital revolution that is going to happen in the workplace, and is going to impact positively on all of these aspects. And trust me on this, these are all backed up data, and these are all backed up by data, and this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Anything which serves the interest of the business will always happen. Please understand this. And it's in a positive way. So that is where that is the point I was trying to drive. And if you can go to the next slide, Atul. We will do a poll. We'll do a poll now, but I would like to bust a few myths. But before that, let's do a poll. Yeah, over to you, Atul.
Sure. So I'll just launch the poll. Very good question here. Technology versus tech. In the prevailing situation, what is the trump card for organizational effectiveness? So if you can just vote your part. Very participative audience. I already see numbers going up. Okay, we'll stop here. I'll display the results. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. So this exactly, you have made a point. Exactly. Technology with a human touch, exactly is the point. And it's exactly is the new norm and the new era for tomorrow. And can I go to the next slide, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, first of the first part, if you please close it and go to the next slide, please. Yeah. Atul, can you close this? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And once more, can you click the slide? Yes, please keep it here. The first myth is that digital touch, look at the photograph at the back, we are all connected virtually. Has it replaced the human touch? No, not at all. It is not. In fact, if you ask me, in my experience, it has brought us closer. We are talking to each other more. We are talking to each other more. We are connected more. It is. And if you ask me, I'm not someone who was transformed and here to speak. No, not at all. I'm also learning like all of you, and I'm also learning, and I'm also sharing my experiences. This is what I have learned. I have grown up in my career through conventional methods of working, right? The 24 years in my career, I have worked with conventional methods. I'm also learning. But digital touch, the myth was that, hey, if I go digital, the human touch is gone. Not at all. Not at all. You are actually talking more with your teams. You're talking more with your people. Your collaborations are going more. Empowerment level, this is something which is very important for you to understand. The empowerment levels have gone up because teams are virtual. They're not there. They just can't knock your room and, say that, sir, what do I do, Shantanu? They are taking a call on their own. The empowerment levels have gone up. So the point I'm making is that this is a myth which we had, that once we go into a digital space, it's going to come out of the human touch. And no, not at all. It will stay both together. Digital is, if you ask me, aids working, but it cannot just bring out the human touch. Human touch will remain. Our connectivity will remain. Our ability to talk to our people will remain. Our ability to work as a team will remain. And that is what is human touch, right? The second myth, which, we have done all this. I'm standing here, and thanks to my team and my organization, I have done this, and hence I'm talking about it. We have talked of onboarding of our new joinees. We stand committed to all the offers that we made. The entire onboarding, which was so physical and manual in nature, including, as I say, reams and reams of paper and the ecological disturbance that we do, the entire thing has got in e-onboarding. It's working fine. It's working well. You're talking of performance appraisals. We are talking of quarterly appraisals. It's all digital. The coaching, which is such a, touch subject, right? It's all about two human beings, right? That's going online. The training workshops is going online. The town halls, such energetic town halls we used to meet around. And I'm not saying that, it's going to completely get into this. All I'm saying is that these pieces will take little more precedence. People will start now talking about it. It's not that we'll stop going to offices, not at all. There will be a work by design. We will go to offices. We will celebrate, of course. We will also be meeting each other. We will be talking to each other. The earlier paradigm that these things don't work virtually, a town hall, we don't work, these have actually got a little busted. And now, I would assume the new normal will not shift to this completely, but there will be a balance between a digital and the normal rigmarole, the normal processes that we used to do. And the shift will happen towards many of these because these are working for us. We declared our promotions, we declared our increments on a virtual town hall, right? And it works. It's not that it doesn't work. The energy level in that can be as high. And these have got questioned, and these have got concluded that, hey, listen, these are also alternate ways of looking at the human space, at the people space. If you go to the next slide, please. Face-to-face interaction is necessary for employee engagement. It is important, but not necessarily. You can still engage. You can still engage with people. You can still have fun at work. You can still have fun at work through digital space. You can still have you can have antakshris of the world and quizzes of the world through digital workspace, and face-to-face interaction is necessary, of course. But with the fact that we only have to resort to that is got busted. And why I said fun at work, because fun at work is something which is really a face-to-face, where we meet people, etc. Those are nice pieces to do. But in this environment, we realize that, hey, we create a digital workspace, which we created actually in Amway. We created that, and they're having our fun at work there, and we are having lot of energy and engagement. It's just that the mind is now working towards concluding that, hey, this is also a good way of doing things. This is also an alternate way of doing things, and you get the same levels of energy. So this is second myth, which I think has got a little busted. I would not reckon that all industries would be at a huge pace to get into all of this coming tomorrow or coming after this scenario is over. But it has become a point to think and ponder, and companies would like to go for it because, as I said, it is going to work for the business. It's going to help the business. Yeah, if you may go to the next slide. And I just want to show this. And as I said, that I have gone through conventional ways of working. But I realized in the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks that all of this is possible digitally. Whether you're talking of yogas, these are all live photographs actually from my company's piece. You're talking of everything which is possible to do. In fact, because of the flexibility in the hours in which people do, so earlier offices, used to do 4 to 5 p.m. or for, 3:30 to 4, people were busy and all. Now, if you're doing in the late evening or something, I see more participation actually. So that's the point I'm making, that even if we start getting into this, there is a positive spin actually that the engagement is actually going up. The levels of motivation to do all of this is also going up. So that's what I had to speak on the myths. And there was a question of the new avatar of HR and people manager. I personally do not, as a person, as a professional, I do not distinguish too much between a HR so-called and HR is just like a business role. And sometimes, we make this a little, this so-called line function, support function and all. These are all absolute irrelevant nomenclatures. The HR is just like a business role. But yes, there's a people element to it. And the point I'm making is even for the people manager, your role to drive HR is as much as the HR function itself. On the contrary, I feel the role of a people manager is far higher in driving the people processes than that of HR. And with this, let me give you share a few perspectives. I think we are doing good on time. I just have another 17, 18 minutes, but let me see if I can cover a little more. If you can go to the next slide. So this is my golden mantra of success, and you will not find it in any books, by the way. This is mine. So that's huge advantage I have, that you will not, I have not copied it from anywhere. I'm just joking. So I feel that in tomorrow's world, the new normal, it is EC plus TC plus C square. And you can remember this is very simple, EC plus TC plus C square. And I must say that, so if I just sum up whatever I've shared, this gets captured actually in this EC plus TC plus C square. And if you go to the next slide, you can make out, what this means. If you go to the next slide, please. EC actually for me is, if you can go to the next slide, please. EC is emotional connect. I must keep on repeating as many times. Please do not mislead yourself or anyone that digital it takes off the, not at all. It actually binds you more because you're not seeing each other. So there's a need, as a human instinct to get connected, right? So EC is, so in the new success of formula, EC is emotional competence, the emotional connect. TC is technological competence. And all those who are sitting in a decision making, please get this right. Please get this right. Let everyone be technologically competent, not only through knowledge, but also through the infrastructure. It's tomorrow's world after COVID. This will be a huge important point, my friends. Technological competence, my knowledge to run a session, my knowledge to navigate my system is one. The other is companies helping you to get competent is a second. So EC plus TC I've said, and there are two more C's. Communication. The communication was always important. But communication in this environment becomes more important because in a digital transformation, in a digital organization, you have to communicate more. You have to communicate more. You have to get into that, ability not to see each other physically, which we are so used to. That's okay. That's absolutely obvious. But then how do I communicate? Obviously I can't cover so much in today's session because there's a paucity of time, but this is a huge subject. We need to think about it. In this revised session, in this revised way of working, what will communication look like? How will I draw the communication strategy? How will I get used to having meetings and where I can communicate through technology and ability to make people communicate with each other? So this is a very important point. What is the revised mantra of communication? And all those who are working in a digital space now will realize what I'm saying, but that will be the new normal if you ask me. So I've covered EC, I've covered TC, I've covered C square, so I would C. See, this is a very last but not the least, is collaboration. Collaboration, when you do not see each other, it becomes very difficult. But then, as I said, I think I mentioned that word before. If you want to collaborate, empower your teams. Make your teams empowered so the collaboration will become, because what's happening? Actually, at various pockets, people are working, right? And yet you are delivering as a team. Now, collaboration also gets redefined, and collaboration actually becomes very important. So that makes my, the success formula. It's so simple, right? You can remember it for life, right? EC plus TC plus C square. And that is where I believe that is what my session was, a very short one, but please understand this. I just want to dwell a little more, 2 minutes on this. Social distancing is not emotional distancing. I have been repeating this several times. It is not emotional distancing. Actually, you get closer. If you realize, in the COVID scenario, we need each other more. We need each other more. So it is not emotional distancing, It is social distancing, yes. We don't see each other. Yes. My mom stays in the eastern part of this country. I stay here. That does not mean that I am not emotionally connected to her, right? It's the same for many of you. It is not different for employees. It is not emotional distancing. And that is fundamental to this new way of working. And I have one last slide, and then I can go to some questions if we have time. As I said that, I always believe in this. You can have the best strategy. You can have the best buildings. Now, of course, I have to replace that buildings with technology, because now, of course, I'm talking digital, right? You can have the best strategy, the best technology. But if you do not have the hearts and minds of the people who work with you, none of it comes to life. I can guarantee you that. And that the question my friend asked about HR, please focus on this. Get the heart and minds of the people who work with you. Take that as a challenge. How it's not the way I work. It's the way HR and the people managers and the leaders engage with the people. How do I bring the hearts and minds of the people to one platform for me to deliver? The contract is not salary. And yes, while I did talk about digital, while I did talk about the space which is going to get redefined, but this is fundamental. This will not get redefined. This will remain the fundamental aspect, in my personal view, for a business to grow and business to survive. If you can win in this part, you win in the workplace, you will win in the marketplace. With this, I end my session. It was a very short session. And I can take some questions for whatever time is left. Yeah, over to you.
The questions are pretty large in the list, Shantanu, so I'll try to put it bucketized to you. So first question goes on the last slide, which was there on the social and emotional distancing. And a good question like, there is a fear that in the minds of HR people that as people are not together, will the relationship become more transactional in nature? And if not so, if they want to make it more emotional in nature, what is that something HR guys should drive in the organization so that it doesn't become transactional over the period of time?
I have responded to this in my slides. It is whenever I as a HR professional, whenever I land up with these questions in my mind, I always think about my family. Is my family staying with me always? All my family, my mom, my parents, my grandparents? No, not at all. But still we are emotionally connected. If you're passionate about your team, you will have ways to get emotionally connected. And I stand tall on this because I have done this for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I've done this. It is how you reach, how you impact a person is not because it is digital or because you meet face to face. It is how you bind, how you connect with that person. What is your communication plan? And it is just not, soft, pulpy, emotive kind. You have to have hard matrices. Are you fair? Are you transparent? Are you credible as a leader? Do you walk the talk? That has nothing to do with digital. That has nothing to do with non-digital. Those are the elements. If I focus, I will get emotionally connected. I will stay bound. But if, so that in my view is what the fundamental premise of reaching to your people, the fundamental premise of engaging with the minds of the people, the fundamental premise of passion, bringing passion to deliver results, those fundamentals won't change. Whether you stay far off, not all my team members, they do not work with me in my corporate office, right? There are, in fact, majority they don't work. They work in the plant and the regions, but they don't feel emotionally disconnected, right? Because I have to be fair. I have to connect with them as much as I connect with people who stay with me in the corporate. And these are the choices. These paradigms are not shifted actually at all, in my view.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are a variety of questions on this subject. I think you have widely covered that. So I'll move to a functional question, Shantanu. It's very functional in nature, where somebody has asked that what happens to sick leaves now? Because the sick leave part, do you think that people working from home, is there a way that, how do they get redesigned or redefined in the new era?
I do not find this question very too critical to the sick leave. What is the premise to work from home? I'm working, right?
Yeah.
I'm not well. I apply for a leave. Why do I have to change my leave policy? I should have that transparency and that trust that if I feign sickness, I can feign sickness even if I don't work from home, you know. So that is not a worry at all. I mean, I don't see any reasons to change a leave policy or these kind of policies, because even if you work by, let's say for example, if you go by work by design, maybe after 4 hours you say that, hey, I am working from home, and actually not working from home. It's a question of time. You will realize that one gets nabbed, and that's not something which I am worried about personally. It's not something that is going to bother me, and there are ways to handle it. But to respond very specifically, I do not see any change in these kind of policies of leave, etc. But I do see a change, even if you have not asked, or a technical point, probably an HR person must have asked this. I do see a change in the way we clock time, attendance, etc. Those things will seriously undergo a change in my view. And if you do not change as an organization, you're only missing the bus. This much also I can tell you. So the normal paradigm of 9 to 5 and 10 to 6, etc. is all gone. That era is gone. So those policies will change. Many organizations have changed their policies. We do not. Many of us organizations have not. But those are dusted and done with, if you ask me. Yeah.
So a very related question, somebody has asked that, do you see that tug of war between organization value and line managers' mindset? Sometimes they have if their team is not along with you, they have a fear of losing control over the team. This kind of things can come up with the people managers. So if you can throw some light on that.
Tell me, whoever is asking today, if you do not work, if your manager feels worried that my team member has left the office without checking with me and he has left earlier, how is it different? Even today, these things are so applicable, right? Come out of these mindsets, come out of the shift. Don't worry, this has nothing to do with COVID. This has nothing to do with new normal. I'm happy you're asking these questions. At least I'm expressing my view.
Yeah.
I am not bonded. I'm not mortgaged to you. I have a role to play. I'm playing my role.
Yeah.
I will work with the organizational values. I will work in the organizational system. I will be abiding by the organizational values, systems, and processes. Beyond that, I don't think I'm answerable to you because you are my boss. I'm answerable to you for performance. I'm answerable to you for my integrity. I'm answerable to you for my work. I'm answerable for you for the role that I do. But do not go beyond what I'm not answerable to you. I'm not a bonded laborer. Please understand this. I'm not mortgaged to you.
True.
I work through a contract. But within that contract, how do you bring passion? How do you bring motivation? These are not changed, my friend. This is nothing to do with digital. This is to do with my way of working, my style of working, and please do it. If you have not done it, you are losing the bus, I can tell you. I think I can see May. May, you want me to finish this? I can finish it.
We have to.
You can share my email ID with people so that if there is any question, I can happy to engage with them.
But I just wanted to add where you left that if they want to build these kind of things, I think Meg will be very happy to take some of the projects with organization where we can help them build motivations and other stuff.
Sure.
One important question, I think Mr. Deepak ji is, Deshpande ji is there, and I think he has agreed to you that the way COVID has ushered a new wave of HR conferences, webinars, seminars, book panel discussions, and other flavor of events. I think this has made these things or online interaction much more adaptable or flexible in terms of people are adopting these things. Maybe it looks like a old wine in a new bottle, preserve, but now people are adopting it because it is a time that people have to get to this or adapt to this new normal. I think
it is not old wine. It is a new wine. Please get used to the new wine. And this new wine is going to stay with us because it is helping business. It will deliver business results, and that's the fundamental premise. But I am okay with the view. Thank you.
So one is on the cost part and very specific that being HR and people manager, is there some obvious cost points looking at new normal which they can look at and see that how they can optimize or realign the resources on the cost front? If you can.
Oh yes, of course. Oh yes, I've covered it. Of course, workspaces will get redefined. You will not need so much workspace.
Yeah.
The very virtual people traveling all over from the country to do training sessions is gone. It's all digital. The way you engage with people, there is a huge cost saving beneficial to the employees. But more important is not just cost; it's actually working for us. So obviously, any organization drives profit and money. You know, it's obviously that's a mantra, but it does. It certainly does. It will definitely. All companies will rework their strategies on cost because it worked all these months. It may work till May 3rd. And then people will say that, hey, listen, if the engagement has not come down, if we are empowered enough to do our work, if we are resetting these pieces, then might be need. Then obviously the entire HR strategy will be reworked and revisited by most of the organizations, I can assure you.
I think I am done with most of the questions here. Or do you make, maybe you can have just a concluding part.
I just wish that,
yeah, if we can have all of us on video so that as Meg suggested, we can have a small remembrance with us.
Absolutely. But thank you, Shantanu. Really appreciate all the insights, and thank you to all the participants. I mean, we had the full house today. We hit the century as well. And personally, Shantanu, I hope there are no copyrights on your formula of EC plus TC plus C square, because we're definitely going to use it.
Yeah, please. Absolutely. There's no copyright. All yours. All the participants. Remember, it's a very simple one. EC, TC plus C square. There's nothing, there's no rocket science in this. EC plus TC plus C square.
Well, all of us knew always E is equal to MC square, but this is a new one to remember now. And Shantanu, personally, for me, there have been great takeaways. But I must say that, while I said in the beginning that Shantanu has been soaked into music since he was 10 years young. He plays Indian classical guitar. And what we have seen and what we have witnessed in today's talk is actually how he plays with the strings. I mean, some of the strings, and personally for me, the takeaway is one string that he has struck so well is the digitization, the technology, how important it is, the role that it is going to play in this chaos called change, and how we are going to strike a perfect orchestra. So with that, on behalf of Enable and the Strategist family, I once again thank you all for your time, and I sincerely believe that what we heard Shantanu say is very valuable to all of us. And once again, I want to thank everyone for making it very interactive. And there have been lots of questions which are unanswered. In the interest of time, we could not take those, but we promise you that we'll come back with those answers, and you can respond to Atul. There's an email ID that has been mentioned. So if I can request everyone to put on their videos so that we can take a nice, clip of a memory for this wonderful memory. I can see all the images coming. Wonderful. So the pictures have been already taken, and once again, thank you all. Have a lovely evening ahead of you and a nice weekend. Stay safe and stay home. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy. God bless. Thank you.
Next week, what topic we have? Maybe you can introduce to everyone.
Yes, well, we're going to launch the poster soon. We're changing gears now. Now that Shantanu has already set the stage for the changes ahead, we are changing the gear now and moving on to what is the next level challenge for the leadership. So watch the space. We'll announce it tomorrow, and obviously all the participants most welcome to hit another century. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.